Hey everyone, it's Beal Productions, and last year Minecraft added the delightful cherry wood to the game, which prompted me to make a whole video about the different colors of wood in Minecraft. This year, they've added the Tuff family set as part of the Trial Chambers implementation, which got me thinking about the different types of stone in Minecraft. Now, here's the thing. The hierarchy for how wood is crafted and stuff is quite simple in the game. You have the log, which transforms into the plank, which transforms to all these things via crafting. There's also the slight detour with the hanging sign and whatnot, but no matter. The point is, this is how it is, and it's very simple. With stone, it's a bit more complex. There's a lot of stuff here, especially for normal stone, because normal stone you can smelt into smooth stone. You can also craft into all these things, or stone bricks, which craft into all these things, which craft into these things. And there's mossy variants for those things both, and there's also cobblestone. It's a whole giant mess. There's a lot of stuff there. But that is for basic stone, which has, quite a few blocks to it. A regular complete stone set, if you were to go for that route, would be something like this, the new Tuff blocks they just added, which is fairly simple. It's a bit but it's still pretty simple on the whole. And you basically get a natural stone with a stair, a slab, and a wall. A polished variant, stair slab wall, and a bricks variant, stair slab wall. That's the hierarchy for a stone block in Minecraft, a family of stones. However, most stone blocks in Minecraft don't have this level of completeness. In fact, many of them look like this. It's just a few basic ones and a few polished ones, and that's it. So, what I have done is assembled all the current stone blocks in Minecraft into this lovely diagram here so we can see what exactly is missing. So what I'm qualifying as a stone for the purpose of this video is any block you can get using a stone cutter, with a few exceptions. But that's just about all the blocks here. And so what we have is we have stone and cobblestone together, and we have the mossy cobblestone and deep slate. These are the basic ones. They have extra rows because you have a natural, the cobbled, smooth, and the bricks. I did split the mossy up from the normal because they're basically duplicates because this is a variant of the stone. And there's also pressure plates and buttons there. Deep slate is the same thing but with the added special column of these deep slate tiles. Black stone is interesting because it's like the basic stone of the nether. It's the basic stone type for that dimension. It can be used to make all the stone tools, furnaces, blah 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 blah. So technically it should have a cobbled variant much like deep slate and regular stone does, just to be parallel. And it does. But the cobbled black stone is just regular black stone. So I've just duplicated those columns there. And for basic stone types, yes, pressure plates and buttons are a thing. So you've got the stone pressure plate button and you have the black stone pressure plate button. That's basically it for those, even though black stone is kind of cheating with these being polished. Then we also have endstone, andesite, diorite, granite, tuff, calcite, and the prismarine blocks. Down here on this other row, though, we have the less obvious, the less stony stone types, if you will. We have sandstones, mud, bricks, we have the red nether bricks. The purpur, it's worth noting that bricks, red nether bricks, regular nether bricks, and purpur, they're all their own brick variants, so that's why these columns look duplicated, because they are duplicated. And then we also have quartz, and finally copper, which I know is metal, and not stone, but you make copper variants in the stone cutter, so it qualifies. And lastly, we have basalt all down here, which barely qualifies because of this axial symmetry, and because the smooth variant is obtained by smelting it rather than crafting it in the stone cutter. So as a result, it has both a smooth and a polished variant, instead of just one or the other like every other stone type. But more on that all in a moment. Now, every copper bulb you see here is technically a block that is missing for a 100 complete set of every stone type. So you might be inclined to think that Mojang should add all 135 of these missing blocks to the game. But what I'm actually going to argue now is that only some of these should be added. And here's why. And I should note, I have consulted some people who actually do building in Minecraft on what they'd find useful, so this is not wholly me just going off what I want in the game. So with that, let's look at this. We have stone, which has pretty obvious candidates. It's missing a stone wall. We need that. We need a smooth stone stair and a smooth stone wall to be complete. That's parallel. Mossy stone is more or less we need that, but we really should have moss stone, moss cobblestone, and moss and smooth moss stone. I'll skip that. It's smooth, why would it be mossy? But regular stone should have a mossy variant. Also, we need mossy chiseled stone, but I will say we don't need cracked mossy stone bricks, because if you think about it, mossy stone bricks would just be cracked stone bricks with moss in the cracks. So that's already kind of covered by default. Deep slate, meanwhile, should probably have a regular, there's going to be a lot of jump cuts in this video. Deep slate doesn't really need stairs, slabs, walls, just fine, but it does need a pressure plate and a button to be consistent with stone and with black stone. Black stone is actually a complete set, and our first example of one here. You don't need to add any more black stone blocks for any reason unless you want to start messing with the system. End stone is the complete opposite though. We really need end stone stairs, slabs, and walls, just the regular Swiss cheese kind. We need smooth end stone as well, and all the variants of that. We also need cracked end stone and chiseled end stone just for decorative stuff. However, now I get to andesite, and this is where things start to get a bit more interesting. Obviously, we need a polished wall for both andesite, diorite, and granite. I don't know why those weren't added in 1.14. It makes no sense. However, I'm actually going to argue that they don't need any of these variants here. None of the bricks, none of the cracks, none of the chiseled. Andesite bricks would look a lot like stone bricks, and diorite bricks could be covered by another block later on down the line. And granite would be like that too. So you don't need these three, because there are other stone types that could benefit from having more blocks that would essentially be duplicates of these ones. So I'm going to argue that these ones here don't need to exist, which seems counterintuitive, but again, duplicates. Then there's tuff. Tuff was just added. Tuff is complete with one glaring omission. There's no cracked tuff stone bricks. Why are there no cracked tuff bricks? Just add it. How hard can it be? You smelt tuff bricks, you get cracked tuff bricks. It should be pretty easy. Calcite is tuff's fantastic cousin that has 0 blocks to its name besides its own. So obviously it needs stairs, slabs, and walls, which would basically look like polished diorite except without the bevel along the side. Then we definitely need the brick variants for calcite, which would again basically cover the slot taken for diorite bricks. Basically, diorite bricks and calcite bricks would look pretty much identical. You don't need to. Might as well give it to calcite because tuff already has it. However, I'm going to say calcite doesn't need smooth or polished blocks because it already exists in diorite form. That's kind of part of the problem with completing. If we were to fill all these in, you'd have duplicate blocks between diorite, calcite, and other blocks that are quite similar. So you do have to be selective here. Prismarine I'm not going to be as careful about. You definitely want all these things, but I'm actually going to say you don't need polished here again for either of them because you have copper and concrete and terracotta and blocks that are quite close, since smooth prismarine would look pretty much like a teal block, which you can just get from cyan stuff. But dark prismarine needs all this stuff as well. You need the bricks and the chiseled variants. One thing you don't need actually, and that's a mistake, is cracked. Because it's an underwater block, why would you want a cracked variant? That doesn't make any sense. Now, moving on from that, we go down to the bottom row with sandstone. Sandstone is a bit interesting because, to be honest, all three of them look pretty similar. But I'm going to say you need the cut stair and you need a wall. One of them that doesn't have this texture on the side of it. However, you don't need a smooth sandstone wall if you have a cut sandstone wall because, again, they're going to look basically identical. If you wanted to, for completeness sake, you could add it in, but I'm going to argue you don't because what's the difference between these two? It's already pretty negligible. They already have chiseled, but you do need a cracked sandstone bricks, and the same is true for red sandstone in every way, shape, and form. Then we get more interesting with mud. Yeah, mud. I'm going to go with you don't need stairs, slabs, or walls from packed mud, because when are you building out of packed mud? Same with smooth. Do you really want smooth mud in Minecraft? Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. However, for the packed mud bricks, we do want a cracked variant, but a chiseled one, I'm going to say you don't need that. So mud is going to stay pretty incomplete because I think it's kind of a tertiary block set and doesn't really need all of this. But the mud bricks are nice and they could really use a cracked variant. Because of course, when mud dries, it cracks, so why not? Bricks are interesting. Bricks could use a cracked one, but they really don't need polished bricks because what would that even look like? Would they just be like a larger brick texture? I guess that would cover granite bricks from not existing. But otherwise I'd say no. And chiseled brick, meh. I don't think you need chiseled bricks. Does anyone really want chiseled bricks? I don't. The nether bricks, however, red nether bricks, neither of them, once again, just like the other ones, need polished. Because again, you're just making the bricks larger and then they just look like other bricks that already exist, or just a washed out texture of what they already are, which is not really useful. But nether brick has the nice quality of already having chiseled and cracked variants like a good complete stone set. Red nether brick doesn't, and it needs chiseled and cracked. Why doesn't it have chiseled and cracked? How hard can it be to add it? Put a different wither skeleton, put a blaze face on it if you want for the chiseled one, that'd be cool. Purpur is slightly interesting as well because it kind of already has a chisel block in the form of the purpur pillar. You could add one if you wanted to. I'm just going to say we don't need it. We also don't need a cracked purpur brick. I feel like cracked bricks aren't very useful for the end. They don't seem like they fit. You do need a purpur wall, and that goes for this too because these are duplicates because once again purpur is its own purpur bricks. You don't need smooth purpur though because once again we have terracotta and all sorts of other coated blocks. So this smooth would just be a plain purple block, which is pretty boring. Could make an argument for it, but I'm not going to. Quartz, meanwhile, quartz needs walls. I think that's pretty obvious there. Just one of them, and specifically, quartz needs the bricks to have stair, slab, and wall. Now, you only need one of these because this is the same deal as sandstone. Regular quartz has a bevel, smooth quartz does not. Pick one, doesn't matter which. You could make them both for completion, but again, duplicate blocks. And you do want cracked quartz because I think that'd be a cool block to have. There are currently no white cracked blocks in the game, so if you wanted to have cracked marble, you can't because it doesn't exist. But cracked calcite and cracked quartz could fill that in quite nicely. And finally, copper. Copper needs stairs and slabs. I don't know why they didn't implement this initially. Why not? I get that copper has like an umpteen trillion blocks to its name because of all the different weathering and wax states, but come on, if you can add that many, surely you can add 50 more. How hard can it be? However, I'm going to say copper walls don't make a lot of sense. Yes, a lot of walls in real life are metal, but in Minecraft, it doesn't make sense. You don't need smooth copper blocks because it already pretty much looks smooth. I'd say it's just about the same thing. And you don't need cracked copper blocks because since when does metal crack? It doesn't. It just breaks or bends. And did I say finally for copper? Well, let's look at basalt real quick. Basalt is interesting because the smooth basalt is smelted from regular basalt, whereas the basalt pillars are crafted from basalt in the stone cutter. So what I'd argue you really need here, if you were to try and expand this out to a more decent block set, is definitely a stair, a slab, and a wall for the smooth block. Smelt this up to make it, and then make a stair, slab, and wall variant because it's quite a nice symmetrical block. You can't make stairs and slabs for the pillar or the regular one because, again, it has some axial symmetry. If you rotate this on its side, the texture isn't the same, and so you can't just cut into it like you could with, say, sandstone or deep slate tiles because it's a pillar block. It doesn't really work texture-wise. So don't need bricks for this variant either. Not just because you have both stone, smooth and polished, but because tough and deep slate both cover this color palette pretty well. I'd say again, it's just really the smooth variants that need it. And I will say maybe a cracked one as well. Chiseled basalt could be nice, don't have to have it. Just another nether mob face on a block, which, could be cool. In the end, that's 58 of the 135 copper bulbs lit, plus another 3 to 4 for basalt. So a little less than half of the total possible stone blocks. That's, again, there's a lot of duplicates and nonsensical blocks and unnecessary items that don't really provide value to anyone, including builders, so they just be fluff and clutter in the game, so you don't really need them. So while the ideal stone set should look a bit like this, where you have the natural blocks, the polished blocks, the stone blocks, the bricks blocks I should say, and an optional specialty block like Deep Slate has, and you have a block, stair, slab, and wall for all of them, plus a chiseled variant, maybe an extra specialty variant, a cracked bricked variant, and for the basic blocks, a pressure plate and a button. While this should be the ideal stone set, not every type of stone in the game needs to have every single one of these blocks for there to be a complete set of stone blocks in Minecraft. Again, due to the similarities in color, texture, etc., that just makes some blocks really unnecessary. So really, as long as every natural stone has stairs, slabs, and walls, along with a polished or brick variant with its own stairs, slabs, and walls, then all these other blocks are bonuses that more or less just give each stone type a truly unique feature or feel, something that makes each block set a meaningful addition to the game. But anyways, that's just my observation. Maybe you see differently. Let me know which stone blocks you would like to see added to Minecraft in the comments below. Definitely like the video if you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing if you're new around here and you want to see more of these kinds of videos. But above all, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.